Okay, this is how we're going to focus on solving these equations, as kind of referencing what you've done in the past last year. Okay, the first step, distribute if you can. Okay, first step is to distribute first. Second is to combine like terms. Third is to do the reverse order of operations for the rest of them. Okay, so first, distribute. Second, combine like terms. Third, reverse the order of operations. Okay? A lot of you guys can turn around, okay, and look at example 1 and probably understand how to do it, or probably take a guess on how to do it first. I'm going to give you a little analogy on how to remember what to do and when. Okay? And the way I do that, first, to solve an equation, you want to get x by itself. You want to get the variable by itself. Really what it means to solve an equation, and this is important, this is the why of what we're doing. This is a statement, 4x plus 4 equals 12. Okay, when we're solving it, what we refer to is we want to find the value of x that makes this a true statement. Okay, in math, equations are statements. We want to find the value of x that makes a true statement. Or the value of x in this case that makes the left side of the equation equal to 12. We want to find what that is. There's a prescribed method that we can use. To do it, okay? And we're going to do those 3 steps. We're going to distribute, we're going to combine like terms, and then we're going to reverse the order of operations, okay, to be able to do it. Here's the analogy, okay? X is a prisoner, okay? It is guarded by 2 different operations in this case. It is guarded by 4 times is the guard and plus 4. Okay, if we're going to try to bust X out of his little jail or get him all by himself, okay, save the X. Okay, we're going to attack this jail, the times 4 jail and the plus 4 jail. Which one would you attack first? Probably the weakest one, right? You're going to get rid of the weakest link to X first. You're going to attack that one. You're going to exploit that one and get rid of it first. So my question to you guys when you look at this, which bond, okay, is weaker, the times 4 or the plus 4? Plus 4 is weaker than times. Explanation why? Because times is actually repeated addition, if you remember that. So addition is actually the weakest. So we're going to get rid of the weakest link first, and then we're going to go to the next step. Okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to get rid of the weakest link. How do you get rid of plus 4? Yeah. Minus 4. Do the inverse of it. Do the inverse of it. The inverse of positive 4 or plus 4 is going to be minus 4. And then after you do it, you tell the math problem, you say, positive 4, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. Nobody knows that TV show, but Burmese and I do. No, it's called The Weakest Link. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. You know what I'm talking about. It's because we're old. Okay, anyways, so there's only one more bond to X left. So let's get rid of it. How do we get rid of 4 times X? Just say it. Divide it by 4. Okay, I'm going to switch it a little bit. Okay, you can divide by 4. I want you to divide by 4. Okay, but instead, dividing by something is the same thing as multiplying by what? The reciprocal. And I want you to count it as multiplying by 1/4 instead of dividing by 4. Okay? It's the same thing. Okay. You can remind yourself, divide by 4. That's fine. If you know that already, stick with that. Okay, but when we get to the later part, I'm giving you a why to do problems later on. Okay, multiply by the reciprocal at this point. Okay, I'm giving you a why. So 1/4 times 4 is 4 over 1, which 1/4 times 4, those are multiplicative inverses. Do you remember that? What do multiplicative inverses multiply out to be? 1. So how many x's do we have on the left? Just 1. And then on the right, 8 times 1/4 is going to be 8 over 4, or 8 divided by 4, which is the same, which is going to be 2. By the way, remember we said to solve the equations, we said the purpose of it is to find the value of x so that the left side equals 12. Well, let's just see if the left side equals 12. So we ask ourselves, oh, does that equal 12? Let's see. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 4, is that 12? Yes. Ta-da. So you can brush the dirt off your shoulder because you're awesome. Okay, let's go to the next one. Which one's the weakest link? The times -3 or the -7? That's kind of a rhetorical question because I think a lot of folks can already see it. It's the -7 that's weakest. So we're going to reverse that order of operation. We're going to inverse that. It's -7, so we're going to add 7. And by the way, you take everything else and you drop it like it's hot. Because when you're feeling like a math teacher, drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. My voice is just as good as Snoop's, right? Okay, so it's -3 times x. Okay, instead of doing divide by -3, which is that's fine. We can divide by -3. I'm going to say we're going to multiply by the reciprocal because they're multiplicative inverses, which means we can multiply, and they make 1. Okay, so we multiply by the inverse, which is -1/3. -1/3 times -3 is going to be +1. So we're left with x equals -9 times -1/3 is going to be -3. And by the way, you could check that to see if you did it right. You can verify. Okay, let's do C. Okay, which is the weakest link? First, the x is on the right, so it's a little bit different, right? Is it the -5 or is it the 1/2 times? It'd be the -5 is going to be weaker, so we're going to do the inverse of that. So we're going to add 5. We're going to do the inverse. Okay, so -5 equals 1/2 x. And we're going to, okay, it's 1/2 times x. Let's get rid of that. Instead of dividing by 1/2, by the way, if you view this as dividing by 1/2, that's hard to do by hand, okay? Because actually you have to multiply it by 2 anyways, okay? So if you're not doing it with the calculator, you actually need to view it as, to get rid of 1/2 times, you multiply it by the reciprocal, which is 2 over 1. So I multiply by the reciprocal, okay? When we do it by the reciprocal, 1/2 times 2, those are multiplicative inverses, so they make 1. 2 times -5 is -10. Oops, I want to write that in black to keep the same flow. Okay, so you get -10. I did want to make sure, guys, notice how I'm organizing this? Okay, here's the deal. Do you have to absolutely organize this the way I'm doing it? No. However, who's grading your papers? You. Me. However, also, what makes me happy? When you do it the way I do it, because I like myself a lot. Okay? So I like the way I do things a lot. Okay? At least I like the way that I organize things. So if you want to communicate your learning to me as best as you can, communicate it the way that I like to do it. Okay? Do you have to? No. Do you want to do, if you want to do better, is it likely that you will get a better score if you communicate it to me the way that I read it or the way that I think about it? Yeah. Is it good for you to do it that way? Yeah. Do you have to? No. You can make your choice, whatever you want to do. Okay? It's a risk, though. Some of us are risk takers, though. Okay, D. Weakest link. Is it the divide by 3 or the -13 plus? It's the -13 plus. Okay? So we go and what's the inverse of 13? Positive 13? That's 0. X over 3 equals 33. Okay, then you drop the rest down, of course. X over 3, that's divide by 3. What's the inverse of divide by 3? Multiply by 3, multiply by the reciprocal. Yep. It is also, by the way, I will tell you this. It's also, let me rewrite this just to be a little fancy for you. This is the same as 1/3 x equals 33. Okay? The reciprocal of 1/3 is 3. Gets rid of it. It's the same reason. Anyways. So, but if we multiply both sides by 3 here, that's fine. And we get x equals, by the way, those divide out and make 1, 99. Okay? All right, let's look at the... Here's what I want you... no, we'll do... We'll do this together. Let's do E. E. Remember the three steps that we talked about. We talked about distributing first, combining like terms, then reverse order of operations. This one, you see that there's a combined like term first? See that 7x minus 3x, 7 minus 3x. So that's what we're going to do is 4x equals 24. Okay, and instead of dividing by 4, think about it as 1/4. Multiplying by the reciprocal. 1/4 times 4 is going to be 1, so we're left with x equals, oops, I got to do it on the other side. X equals 6, is that right? Okay. Again on F, divide like terms, or combine like terms first, right? We do distribution, combine like terms, inverse operation. So let's combine like terms first. So we're going to do 2x minus 9x. 2 minus 9 is negative 7x. And then we can finish it from here. Okay. Weakest link, the plus 17, so we minus 17. That's 0, so it's negative 21. Multiply both sides by negative 1/7. 20 times negative 21 times negative 1/7 is positive 3. Or you can think of it as 21 divided by 7. That's fine. Or negative. What I want you to do, get with your groups, okay, and come to an agreement on what you feel like the answer to G is. Come to an agreement with your group, okay, as to the answer for G. As to the answer for G, I'm going to turn around and explain and do it right here. Distribute first. Plus 40. Oops, that's 45, isn't it? 9 times 5 is 45, right? That's 100. It's 45 there. And the next one. Divided by 12, minus 12, rather. Great job as a class, guys. Let's go on to the next one and let me explain it here. Again, distribute. Negative 3 times x is x. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. 21. Distribute first and then combine like terms, which is what we're doing now. Combine like terms. And then minus 6. X equals 15. Okay, great job. Now we're going to, which one's the weakest link? This is not the times 7/4. It's actually the positive 4 that we need to get rid of first. Negative 14 equals negative 7x. And now this is why we think about reciprocal. We can multiply by the reciprocal here and get rid of it. That divide by out make 1. That divide out to make 1. Negative becomes positive. And then we can reduce, cross cancel. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 14 divided by 7 is 2. Negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8. 7. Okay, when we talk about the weakest link on K, the weakest link, okay, first we do this minus, and change it to plus. Okay, the weakest link on K is actually not the plus 3, because the plus 3 is combined with that divide by 8 line. It's like a double operation. The first divide by 8 line is plus 0 is kind of combined. So the weakest actually is divide by 8 because it's not anything else. It's just kind of on the bottom. So the first thing you do is multiply by 8, which will be 17 plus 16 plus 3, because those things cancel out 8 line. Okay? The weakest is that divide by 8 plus 3. That's kind of plus 3 is from so it'd be 60, what is that? 69 equals negative 6. Divide by negative 6. Yeah. Okay. What about what? Oh, it was. Oh, so negative 72. Thank you. I was wondering why it's. So it's negative 75. Divided by negative 6. Your homework is online if you want, if you're sticking around.